Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Sarcher showing you a clan match that I had just the other night with my boys over at AOD. We played the #1 team on the 8 vs 8 Conquest ladder. This map that we're playing on is Arica Harbor, and we're playing against Fuerzas Armadas Virtuales, which is a Southern American team based in Venezuela. And we've played these guys numerous times, and they've pretty much dominated that ladder for about 6 to 7 months. I think we've only beat them once out of probably the 8 times we played these guys, and they've dominated pretty much and held the spot for a very long time. And so this game I'm showing you here is a really good game we had against them. What we're starting off here with is me running recon and my boys supporting with the medic kit. And primarily when you're playing Conquest, to win the game, you want to try to bleed the enemy of their tickets. And you do that by holding up as much flags as you can, and by killing them as much as you can as well. The more kills you get, the lesser tickets they have, and vice versa. But with the medics in this case, having medics on your team is very useful in the sense that a revive will replenish your ticket count, and the more revives you get, the more tickets you get back. And so it can make for very good long games having a team full of medics. It seems to be the dominant kit running in Conquest games like this. And so the sniper class is an actual useless class, and the assault class are not really much favored in the sense, you see me fail there with the jet ski. What I'm trying to do here is flank around to see. My job here is to try to flank and give my guys a spawning point. But there's 3 flags on the map, so right now we want to control 2 at all times. That's the typical strategy when you're playing against a competitive game, or on the competitive scene. It's maybe a little different than what you would do in a public match. Most people, when you join a public game, it's not just trying to control flags, but most people tend to just go for the kills. In this case, when you're playing competitively, it's the flags that matter the most. The more flags you have, the better advantage you're going to have on the playing field. And in this case, we want to hold at least 2. So they have the advantage over us right now. As you can see, the tickets were 117. They are 132. The team that gets down to 0 tickets first loses the game. So you want to have as many tickets. You want to be in the lead with as many tickets as you can. So here we're going to try to get those flag back, or the 2 flags that we want is C and B, which is on their side. So we kind of flanked there, caught them off by surprise, and here you see me hold up a nice fort over here on the UAV side. I can hear them coming down my direction, so I'm going to try to see if I can pick off as many as I can. No scope there, and then I can hear the guy in front of me and then the guy on my left, which pulls off a really good triple. That really doesn't happen as often in competitive play, remembering that teams that you're playing against, especially a team like this, they're communicating with their teammates. So one guy gets spotted. That's a jump shot right there. One guy gets spotted out, and he calls out a command, and everyone else knows where you're at. So the teams with the best communication, and it's not just communication, but it's also the experience. When you're playing with people that you are familiar playing with, the experience between those players can determine the outcome of a game. So, and you develop that with the same players you play with. You develop a certain bond, a certain kind of understanding with those players that help you improve and play together as a team. So FAV, they're really strong, not just as individual players, but their communication, their teamwork is just spot on. And you're going to see here in this match them running medics and consistently reviving each other, keeping each other alive. I mean, we outbeat them, it appears, as far as kills do, but when it comes to tickets, they tend to dominate the field. And so here you see us losing by 16 tickets, I believe. 17 now because of that revive they just pulled off. I bring them back down. And so going back to the kit selection, usually when you're playing in matches like this, it's always medics. Those are the high-end classes. Weapons are typically the MG36. It seems to have really good accuracy, both for close quarter and a long range. Plus you get the extra red dot, which is a good advantage. You can actually attach more special you can spec out into more different variety instead of just having to rely on using a red dot or the iron sight. So the MG36's primary seems to be in most conquest games with teams, and here you see me pull off a nice collateral, which also doesn't happen very rarely in competitive gaming. But the players you play with, when you're playing against really good teams, you always want to be on spot. Everything from calling out a command to your teammates and delivering a certain order. You want to make sure that your team responds quickly and understands exactly what that is. And every team, like I was mentioning in my previous clan footage, that every team has their own certain ways of commanding each other. And that clip right there that you just saw me do, I picked up my buddy's kit, which he was a medic, and then I revived him with it, which is very important. Kit switching is very useful in this game, and that's something that I would highly suggest if you're just a casual player, just to start picking up kits that are around you and using it for your advantage and helping your team out. But going back to what I was talking about, when you're working together with your team, it's always best to have a really basic and easy to understand format of what you're calling out, and having certain spots on a map that are highlights, so that when you call that command, your entire team knows exactly where that is. So as you see me there leaving that little satellite there, everyone knows on my team that's a little satellite. So you call C satellite, they know exactly where that's at. Or you can say C house. It can be something very simple. Doesn't really matter. But when you're working with your team, just making sure that it's very simple and easy to understand is what's key. But going back further to the kit selection, medics is dominant. Engineers is dominant depending on the type of map you're running. If you have vehicles, of course you're going to want to use as many engineers, but the recon class, surprisingly, and the assault class are actual useless classes. The only reason why I would run it in this case is the motion sensor mines. They seem to help out a lot, and if you're a quick scoper, or if you're someone who's very aggressive with the recon kit, it's also a really good tool to have for your advantage, as you can pick off people from a distance and call out commands and spot people from far away. Helps out your team a lot. So what we're doing here is, I kind of fast forwarded there. We're going to hold our 2 positions, which we have now. Now you see the tickets. It's really close. Now we're almost at an even game. So we brought them down just a little bit to keep us at a nice advantage. I'm going to go over on a no-scoping spree here. I did another collateral, and then I picked up a buddy's kit of mine to try to revive him, but nobody was there. So let's see what's going on here. There's a lot of massive destruction that's happening. You see people picking me off from the back. Flankers, that's something you want to point out. Have your team spread out when you guys first open up on the map, or you guys start spreading out. You want to make sure you cover up as much ground as you can, and have as many eyes covering up as much of the field. And in this case, because there's only 8 versus 8, you can't really get as many people out there on the field, but using height to your advantage is a really good thing to do. I know some of the greater teams like Legacy or Dynamic or Rival have used rooftops to the advantage, and that's a really good tactic, is using rooftops to spot out as many eyes and give as many eyes to your team as you can, and calling out positions. And so you always want to watch flankers. They tend to use the outside of the maps to get around from behind and try to basically capture a flag from the back when you're least expecting it. And so if you are able to get your team to fan out and cover all positions so that you can capture both flankers and the people who are also trying to capture objective, you should be in good shape. So here we pulled off a win, which was a really close match, really good one. We were losing pretty much more than half that match, and we managed to come back and make a nice comeback at the end. So we led here 25 tickets, and as you can see the final scores there. So it turned out to be a really good first round. You determine the winners by best out of 3. So if we were able to pull off another win, that would be game. So we're on the second game, second round, and what's going on here is we are pushing, and our goal is to leave just one guy over at C to watch and observe, and then the rest of us all pushing to B, because B is going to be the hot zone. Everyone kind of smashes together at B. But one thing you understand is when you place the same teams a lot, you understand kind of like their tactics, the way they use their plans. And in this case, I assumed, because I'm very familiar with how FAV uses their tactics, they usually would take a group to C, and as you see here on the mini map, they're taking C right now. They were able to flank around the beach side and take C by surprise, which puts us in a dangerous position, because now they're taking a flag that's behind us, and you see some massive destruction going on right there. And now we're sandwiched. So they basically have us stuck in the center, and they're both capturing the outside maps, which pressures us into a point where we become frustrated. So it's a key thing that when you're playing with your team to make sure nobody's too grouped up. Because as you can see there, we could have had guys spawning everyone at B, but that would have been a mistake, because they would have sandwiched us and flushed our whole team back into our spawn, which makes it a very puts us in a very difficult position. And in that case, once you're back in your spawn, you're pretty much screwed from that point. But here you can have guys spawning in various locations, and you want everyone to actually keep yourself away from your team, in the sense that you want to be able to spread out. That's the key thing here, spreading out, and making sure that your guys are on every area of the map. And so here you see a little sniping action going on, being very aggressive. That's something that really helps you when you're playing sniper, especially in competitive gameplay, where in this case the sniping recon kit is useless. You're going to have to make up for it by knowing what's around on your map, using your motion sensor mines to your advantage, and communication. That's just the main thing here. And so yeah, FAV again puts up a really good fight. I think in every situation we've tried challenging them in, they've always dominated, especially on vehicle heavy maps. They seem to use their vehicles a lot better than we do. Most of us are much ground soldiers. We kind of just like to do the hand-to-hand combat rather than the whole vehicle warfare, but they have that advantage over us. And so in this case, because Erica Harbor is very only, soldier specific ground warfare, it seems like we have a slight advantage. Not too much though. These guys are still amazing, great players. And so here you notice the tickets, it's even, so they're putting up, we're pretty much close, dead on, leading by just a couple tickets, and they're pulling off really good gameplay. And we want to make sure we capture those 2 flags. You never want to get triple capped. As you see 3 blinking there, if they capture us 3 times, it's going to force us to fall back into our uncap, which again is the position you don't want to be in. So here you see me running with the medic kick just for a little bit. Going to pick my buddy up here, and then we're going to move on, capture this flag, and set up a perimeter over at B. Again, flankers is a big issue, because in a map like this where you have so limited players, having just one guy flank is a big deal, because they can get all their guys to spawn off of them and then capture a point when you're not looking. Here I had my buddy over there revive me, and then now we're kind of going on a reviving spree. Like I was mentioning, medic is dominant. If you're going to play with buddies on a conquest map where tickets really matter, you're going to want to run the medic class. And here you see me, the MG36, of course. But there's an assault guy there. I guess they have one assault guy playing on their team using the grenade launcher to his advantage. There's a lot of housing in this area, so the grenade launcher is very useful in that sense. And so they're using that to their advantage. I'm the recon. We got the rest of our guys running medics. Seems like we're leading right here by 20 tickets, so we're actually putting a very triple capping them now, and so now it's a really good game. We're going to be flushing them out of their tickets, and at the same time keeping them from getting to our point. So now we have a nice perimeter set up. But here's the problem. They're taking C, but we have too many guys who are trying to fall back to C. When you get one person or two of the enemies who are flanking, you don't want your whole team to go over there and try to flush them all out. You always want to keep at least a couple of your guys to stay back and watch the initial positions that you're already holding. You can use just one or two guys to go back, figure out where the flank is happening, and try to take care of the situation instead of having your whole team take their eyes off of where their objective is supposed to be. And the objective here is to hold at least 3 flags. So I think that's it. That's the final match. 44-0. We did really good there. And again, it was a really good match against the #1 team on 8 versus 8 Conquest TWL match. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll provide a link in the top right which shows the entire full match against FAV without all the commentary, and you guys can go ahead and tune in onto that on my channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.